Today I'd like to welcome David Zhu to my channel. He's the founder and CEO of this awesome new crypto wallet called Arcana. So thank you for coming on, David.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for having me.
So why don't we start by having you introduce yourself and kind of explain how you got into crypto and what led you here?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is David Zhu. I'm the CEO of Arcana, and I was a tech entrepreneur prior to joining crypto. So I built a couple of venture-backed startups, but I got my first Bitcoin in 2011. And I've been investing in the space since, following the space, and I started managing a digital asset fund as of last year. And in managing these assets, it made me realize a lot of the problems in terms of management of these assets, custody of these assets, which is why it kind of lead us to what Arcana is right now.
Very cool. So explain what it is. Give us your elevator pitch for the project.
Yeah, absolutely. So Arcana is a multi-currency custodial wallet for your digital assets. We have Bitcoin support, Litecoin, Ethereum, and Neo blockchain support. So that includes ERC20 and Net5 tokens. And we are a compliant custodian. So that means that we do KYC and AML for all of our users. We really want to be compliant, especially because as regulations come in the US, we want to be in the right side of things, and we're here for the long term. And we act as this custodian by using our proprietary distributed cold storage technology that we built. So on top of that, Arcana is an all-in-one interface to track the performance of all your digital assets. Because right now, a lot of times when you're viewing the assets that you're holding in your wallets, you have to separate them between different blockchains. Yes. And yeah, lastly, we serve as a platform to allow a lot of financial applications to actually port their service and deal with crypto assets instead of each having to build their own security infrastructure.
That's very cool. I actually, when I got into the space, whatever it was, like 2 years ago, I remember asking someone, isn't there like one wallet I can keep everything in? Like, this doesn't make any sense. And everybody laughed at me. They're like, no, that's not really how it works. So I think this is definitely something that's necessary. And, you know, like you said, it's just, there's so many different blockchains. It's very hard to keep everything organized. So it would be nice to be able to centralize stuff in that sense.
Absolutely. And I think we're going to see the demand of these multi-currency wallets more and more as this year goes on, because a lot of mainnets of projects are launching and they're separate from their placeholders. So I believe that by the end of the year, there's going to be dozens of that you need to manage if you're managing a diversified portfolio.
Yeah.
And the of these assets is going to be a tedious process in the current way.
So besides streamlining sort of holding your own assets and making that a little bit easier for people, what other existing issues did you see in this space that you wanted to solve by creating this project?
Sure. So when I look at this space and the wallets that we have access to use, a lot of these are non-custodial wallets, and they are basically a visualization layer that allows everybody to see their assets that they are holding through their choice of safekeeping device. So people use a paper wallet, people use a hardware wallet, like a Trezor or Ledger. But I believe that using your own custody, it does not unlock the full potential of crypto assets. And what I mean by that is by holding your own assets in cold storage, you are essentially disconnecting them from the network. And by doing so, you cannot prove ownership of any of these assets. And when you think about this from a finance point of view, anything, fiat, property, whatever you can prove ownership to actually make that asset work for you. And this is especially true in crypto because we have a 24-hour liquid market that tells us the price of these assets.
Yeah, that is very important, and you make a good point. I guess I never really thought of it from that perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I think the price of crypto so much that a lot of people are just happy with the gains that they get by investing in it. But as I see the space mature more and more, these are assets that we've invested in that we can actually unlock further value from.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
We're really excited. Yeah, to provide a solution where people have an array of options to actually subscribe to and put those assets to work.
Very cool. So what are some of the major components of the project that you're most excited about, like features and things like that?
Sure. I'll break down kind of what we're doing into a few categories. So first of all, we are helping all the investors in crypto assets claim what I call auxiliary rights to these assets just by investing in them. So what that means is certain times a blockchain will split when consensus isn't met. And if you're invested in that blockchain, you now own assets on two different blockchains. And the claiming of some of these assets become hard, technical, and you actually have to follow the space closely to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And definitely a group of investors that are keen to invest in this new phenomenon, but don't have the attention to manage all of that. So in that sense, we do provide that for all the major blockchains that we're supporting within our ecosystem. Furthermore, I talked about the initial 4 blockchains that we are supporting in the beginning, and we're committed to add more and more blockchains onto here so that you can actually see your entire portfolio together. And I guess lastly, there's a category that I'm really excited about, and that's bringing a lot of custodial applications that only a custody wallet can offer, so that users that are holding their assets under our custody can subscribe them towards different revenue and value creating opportunities. So an example of this would be being able to pull towards a proof of stake masternode, being able to host a trading algorithm so that we do the hosting, we secure it, and we allow users to see how it's performing, and then they can choose whether or not to put their assets to work under that algorithm.
That's very cool. I think definitely the idea of being able to claim forks within the wallet is going to decrease a lot of stress for people, because you're right, it's something that you have to track and follow, and not everyone has the time to do that. I know I certainly, the first time I had to do like the Bitcoin Cash one, it was a learning experience for me because I didn't really understand it. But I also saw that you guys are thinking about possibly supporting like mainnet swaps and things like that too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's also something that is kind of technically hard for people to do. And especially certain times they require registration of tokens like EOS did.
Yeah.
So all the major blockchains, we are definitely going to support that.
That's very cool. Yeah, and it's, again, it's another one of those things that you have to follow. Like right now, Icon's doing it. And so if it's not on their wallet or it's not on Binance, you're kind of in a little bit of trouble. So it's nice that there's going to be some other options in the space for people.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen a lot of people just deposit their coins onto exchanges because it's difficult. So there's definitely a need for someone to help with that.
Oh, absolutely. So security is obviously of the utmost importance in the crypto space. So what is your team doing to ensure their users that their information and their wallet is going to be protected?
Sure. I think security is one of the most important parts of this because we are a custodian wallet. We are asking everybody to trust us with their private keys or their crypto, which is a very scary thing in this current time of the crypto space. But we've developed a proprietary technology through distributed cold storage that is audited by external firms like BPM, like Enuma Technologies, like HackerOne. But basically, our security infrastructure distributes all of our assets geographically in a lot of different machines. We distribute all of the digital assets that we're holding in a variety of different wallets. So the cost of attack on any point of vulnerability is much higher than the reward that you can get from actually using the attack. We try to learn from a lot of hacks that have gone on already in the space, and we try to implement cybersecurity layers to account for that. So we do things like we compartmentalize APIs and microservices and our databases. We use 256 AES encryption. And in general, we are inviting all security experts in this space to help us give their independent opinions on how our security is. And we believe that we've developed something very interesting that allows us the security of what we think of as cold storage, but also allows us to move them liquidly and maintain that security through the entire process.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the idea of distributing things so that the amount it would cost to attack an individual area is going to be more than you're going to get even if you did end up being successful is a key component, because obviously that in itself is going to deter people from wanting to do it because it's just not financially worth it at that point.
Absolutely. And I think, as technology and computers get stronger and stronger, we definitely need to make sure that we can discourage any hackers, because the assets held in any individual place, it's just not worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very cool. So on the website, you mentioned that your wallet's going to be insured and compliant. And so you also kind of brought that up a little bit in the beginning of the interview, but can you just kind of go into a little bit more detail about what that means exactly?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll first talk about compliancy. So what I mean by that is we are requiring everybody that joins our platform and use our product to go through KYC. We have external KYC using Identity Minds AI. We also have our internal KYC process. And the reason for that is not really to create more friction for people to actually join the platform and use the technology we built, but we really want to be here for the long term. And there's a lot of legal ramifications of holding people's assets. And especially in the US, this is a very strict thing. So we want to take the necessary steps in the beginning to be compliant, because anti-money laundering laws and money transmitter license, there's a lot of things that come up that if we just kind of allow everybody in there, it's gonna potentially harm us future down the line when the proper guidance is actually put out there. In terms of insurance, so in the beginning of our product, we ourselves are providing up to $10,000 insurance for all assets that are held in the Arcana ecosystem for all users. And we're working with a lot of third-party insurance companies to insure different parts of our system. So, for example, I mentioned briefly about being able to allow users to subscribe their proof of stake coins towards a masternode. So we would essentially be able to allow a third party to come in, look at how we are hosting that masternode, look at the vulnerabilities of that, and put a price on the value of insurance on that, and potentially syndicate that out to all the users that want to subscribe to that feature. And I think that's really important because, again, we are a custodian and people are trusting us with our private keys. But if there's external parties that will say that if you subscribe to this product, we will make sure that you get your money back if anything happens, then they're no longer just trusting us. And I think that brings a huge amount of value to the ecosystem that we do not see much of right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, the idea that obviously you're keeping long-term goals your priority because, crypto's not going anywhere, and it's kind of silly to think that everybody can run around making all of these projects and these wallets and these things and not eventually have to be compliant and fall in line, because it's kind of going to happen in an inevitable sense. So also the idea of being able to subscribe to a masternode and using your coins towards that is probably one of the cooler things I've heard of lately. So that's really awesome. And that's also very ambitious of you guys to be insuring out of your company for the first 10,000 for the users. So that's very cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we wanna provide all that we can to make people feel comfortable in the beginning, and we are architecting our system in ways that we can have third parties give an extra layer of assurance at the quickest possible timing.
Very cool. So, being able to access your crypto holdings anywhere and being on the go is very important. So, do you plan to make your wallet eventually a mobile-friendly application?
Yes, absolutely. So right now, our application is a web application. So you can access this on desktop, you can access this on mobile, and we'll eventually put out a native mobile application. Right now, we're really focusing on the security aspect of our wallet, as well as being able to provide unique usable features that create value for the assets that you hold with us. And there's a lot of things that we can spend our resources on, and we choose to spend those resources on the things that do not currently exist in the ecosystem and can provide immediate value to our community and user base.
Absolutely. And security should be the priority in the beginning. Obviously, yeah, having the website's great. Having a mobile app in the future would be nice, but it's not really going to matter if it's not safe and secure, right? So prioritizing that and then other features is definitely a good use of your time and your funds, I think.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, we're really excited to be able to push out mobile applications. And on the mobile side, on top of our distributed cold storage security, there's also security features that we need to enable users to access so that if they lose their mobile device, if anything happens like that, that they can protect themselves in a variety of ways, like being able to set whitelisting of addresses for withdrawals, for example. That would be necessary for us to feel comfortable allowing users to use it on a mobile fashion. So we want to be able to provide tools that eliminate occurrences of user negligence, or at least minimize it. I think that's really important for the mainstream users to adopt crypto assets.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, going down the list of things, I'm sure there's 1,000 things that you guys want to do, and it's just a matter of going in the proper order and getting things done in the way that makes the most sense for you.
Absolutely.
So I found out that you guys actually do have your own token called ARCA, but you chose to use the EOS blockchain, I believe. So I have two questions for you. Why EOS, and what is the purpose that the token will serve in your ecosystem?
Sure. So I'll talk a little bit about fundraising and kind of our perspective on this, because tokens are really used to be able to create resources to build out a platform. So because we are very keen on being compliant, we actually raised a venture equity round to get us to our mainnet launch. And from there, we do plan on doing a token sale and introducing our token called ARCA. So I'll talk about what ARCA is, as well as the blockchain that we choose to create ARCA on. So ARCA token is basically a token that's very similar to BNB's token within the Binance ecosystem. And this is one of the most used utility tokens out there today. And the ARCA token basically presents a 50% discount for all network fees within the Arcana ecosystem. So essentially, it's a half-off coupon for all services that you plan to use on our platform. And we are heavily considering creating that token on EOS platform because it gives us versatility in distribution, given that it does not require gas to be able to use creative marketing and distribution ways. Although I do want to say that we're closely monitoring the mainnet of the EOS platform. And given that there's some hiccups in these last few days in that platform, we are not 100% committed in creating the token on there initially. So I would say that it's definitely a possibility that we may create that token on the Ethereum platform first, and then swap it over to one that gives us the advantage of versatility in terms of our future marketing and compensation campaigns when that network is more stable and we feel like the upside is there for us.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of the way most of these projects are working anyways. People start with ERC20 tokens, they start with Ethereum, and then they move on to something else. So, yeah, unfortunately, the EOS has had a couple hiccups lately. So, but, it is what it is, I suppose. So, you kind of mentioned a bit about what coins the wallet is initially going to hold. Will you be able to publish like a timeline for what you plan on adding, or do you have like a roadmap as far as that goes?
Sure. So in general, we have a small part of our team that's dedicated to, it's called the multi-currency wallet team. So basically this team its objective is to maintain all the current blockchain assets that we're holding and to continuously add more of them. So I mentioned there are certain features that we're adding, like proof of stake, masternode pooling. So in terms of our near timeline, we definitely look at Dashcoin, VeChain as coins that we want to add on to that. we're also looking strategically on adding on new blockchains that don't have a really good wallet and support on that, but maybe have a big community that's supporting them, and being able to provide them multi-currency access is, I think, a really unique offering. So in general, you can anticipate us adding in new blockchain assets every month or so, and that will definitely ramp up as we go towards the later part of this year.
That's a smart kind of way to look at it. Look for a big community with a project that's, you know, pretty popular, that maybe doesn't have the best wallet or doesn't have like external support elsewhere. That's a good idea as far as picking and choosing what you're going to put on your wallet.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, as projects that are blockchain projects launch their own wallet, it's kind of a necessary thing for them to actually build out their product on their own. And I don't think that it's high in their priority list to build out an extensive, beautiful wallet for all their users. And the ones that don't have the resources and capability of doing that, we definitely are in a position to help them and support their community. So we're evaluating a lot of those projects.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So I know that you released the beta test, or it's in the process of being released. So when can the public, I guess, expect to see it or be able to use it?
Yeah, so our mainnet is currently being tested by a private group of our early contributors and investors. And as we're testing, we're mostly testing our KYC integration right now. And we'll be inviting in a batch of users at a time, ones that have signed up at arcanawallet.com. So users that have signed up already will be getting KYC instructions via email, and they'll understand how to get through the process. And I would say that if you're keen on trying Arcana Wallet, sign up on our website and look for that KYC email.
Oh, I'm waiting for it because I signed up, so I look forward to that email. So what can the community expect from you guys for 2018? What are your major goals you think you're going to hit or try to hit?
So we definitely want to be a large contender in the multi-currency wallet space by the end of the year. And as I mentioned earlier, we definitely anticipate the demand for that to grow, and we want to support many different blockchains by the end of the year, especially blockchains that are used to launch ICO projects, because they then have token assets that are underneath their blockchain. And that's definitely something that we want to compete in by the end of the year. On top of that, we're really excited to build on our custodial layer in terms of being able to provide value add opportunities that all of our users can subscribe to, because that's something that a non-custodial wallet like MyEther wallet would not be able to offer. So I would say that look out for 2 features that will be coming up. Those are proof of stake masternode pooling, allowing you to subscribe to that, as well as hosting of some top trading algorithms. And we are also working in integrating algorithms of some funds as well. And I'll talk a little bit about what that means. So right now, there's marketplaces for trading algorithms in crypto, but it's not an easy thing to run, to host, and to maintain in your own environment. So we want to be the platform that looks at these algorithms, shows you how these algorithms are performing against historical data in a very unbiased manner, allow people to see how much throughput can be used within these algorithms, and then they can subscribe to them and have their assets worked for them, depending on what strategy they pick. Both of these features are things that I think encourage people to use this as a custodian instead of just disconnecting their assets in their hardware wallet. So we're definitely keen on pushing out features that only we can offer, and definitely look out for those.
That's awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it, so I hope the rest of my viewers are, because I'm definitely going to be jumping on that beta test whenever I get the opportunity to. So those are all the questions I have for you today. Is there anything that you think we missed or anything else that you'd like to add?
Not exactly. I mean, I really want to thank you, Alex, for doing this interview I want to thank all of your viewers and the community to take the time to kind of listen and understand what Arcana is about right now, what we want to do in the future. And I would say that we're actively looking for people to help contribute to the Arcana ecosystem if the message of what we're doing, the product that we're building really resonates with you. So in that, we're definitely looking for partners to replicate our marketing message and community building in regions that we're not familiar with. And in general, if you are an engineer, you're a designer, you like what we do, reach out to us. And we're really happy to include anyone that can help us build this together.
Very cool. You hear that, guys? So keep a lookout. Give the guy an email. Well, thank you very much for coming on, and I look forward to seeing what you guys do in 2018.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Alex.
Hello, this is Ben, CTO of Arcana. I'm proud to show you a sneak peek of our multi-currency wallet. We've been working very hard over the past few months and are excited to show you what we've created. We're currently in alpha testing and looking forward to our private beta and letting the earliest supporters of our project experience the platform. So let's take a look. As an Arcana user, we would go to arcanawallet.com and log in. Once we log in, the first thing we are greeted with here is our dashboard. We've designed Arcana to be a cozy, intuitive home for your crypto assets. We really wanted to create a platform where you could have a super clear picture of where you stand. So at a glance, you can see the fiat value of your assets, percentages of total holdings, delta of each coin, and quick links to current news and information, like on Medium and Reddit. Essentially, it's your personalized coin market cap, but maybe a little prettier. From this same view, we can activate wallets for new coins and tokens and add them to our portfolio at any time. At launch, we will be supporting Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, over 200 ERC20 tokens, NEO, and the NEP5 tokens as well. One of the things we've always longed for in the past was not needing to have multiple tabs open to see current and historical prices for our holdings. So we've gone ahead and incorporated that right here underneath your coins. On the top right corner over here, Arcana will give you real-time notifications of all account activity, such as airdrops or completed deposits, or security concerns, such as an unrecognized login. Towards the bottom, we have all the recent activity pertaining to your crypto assets, such as deposits and withdrawals. And underneath that, we have a nice visual of your portfolio performance over time. From the Wallet tab, we can get a detailed look at each of the tokens and coins we hold. All the tokens I've activated are shown here, and I can add new tokens and coins in the same way that I would from the portfolio page. Here we can see the fiat value of our individual coins and tokens. And then scrolling down a little bit, we can see the transaction history specific to this coin. And lastly, on the bottom, we can see a little history of the ins and outs of this particular asset. To make a deposit into our Arcana wallet, we simply copy our public address. This is where the magic lives. The address you get on Arcana is a cold storage address, so depositing to this address provides comparative security to a hardware wallet. Behind this simple button is where we've really spent a gargantuan effort to provide a very secure yet liquid wallet. To make a withdrawal is just like any other platform. We simply paste in the public address of where we'd like to withdraw to. Pretty standard here. The difference with Arcana, though, is that network fees can be paid with ARCA token at a discount, so we can avoid eroding our Bitcoin or native currency for our transactions. Finally, this takes us to the settings page. We take security very seriously. So we support and highly recommend users use two-factor authorization to secure their account. All withdrawals require email confirmation as well. Login history is logged so that you can easily spot any unauthorized access to your accounts. This concludes our sneak peek at the Arcana wallet. We're very excited for this first step of creating a beautiful home, a place that makes it simple and easy to manage your crypto wealth. From this foundation, we're looking forward to building out our Arcana ecosystem, maximizing the value that you can create with your crypto assets as we integrate things like algorithmic trading and master node staking. So stay tuned, and thank you so much.